Good evening, everyone. What a pleasure it is to have the opportunity once again to join you tonight and be able to announce some exciting awards. The Hugh Hammond Bennett Awards for Conservation Excellence were established by the National Conservation Planning Partnership to recognize individuals at the local, state, and the national level for extraordinary achievements and contributions to the soil and water conservation movement in the United States. Invoking the leadership and dedication of Hugh Hammond Bennett, the father of the modern soil conservation movement, the Bennett Award is presented to one conservation planner and one conservation producer each year for their commitment to conservation planning, pioneering of new approaches to conservation planning, advancement of soil health adoption, and civic engagement. I am pleased to announce the 2019 recipient of the Conservation Planner Hugh Hammond Bennett Award for Conservation Excellence is Emma Chow from Santa Maria, California. Emma graduated from California Polytechnic State Institute from San Luis Obispo with a Bachelor of Science in Environmental Management and Protection and a minor in City and Regional Planning, Sustainable Environments. She participated in the California NRCS Leadership Development Program, strengthening her leadership skills to help her succeed. As an employee of NRCS for over 10 years, Emma has worked tirelessly to promote conservation. Following the catastrophic Tubbs fire, Emma immediately mobilized staff to help clients whose property burned. Her drive to help property owners control soil erosion after fires helped the forest community recognize the need to look at their entire property and effects on the watershed rather than just the areas around their homes. Some of her other efforts have included managing EQIP contracts, providing outreach after flood events, expanding the forestry program, and coordinating to create outreach videos for LGBT, National Organic Campaign, and High Tunnel success stories. Emma has a range of conservation planning experience with vineyards, orchards, forests, and diverse crops, allowing her to provide assistance in a wide variety of situations. Her dedication to the conservation message and desire to help her community grow stronger is astounding and truly an inspiration to us all. Please join me in welcoming to the stage and congratulating the winner of the 2019 Conservation Planner Hugh Hammond Bennett Award for Conservation Excellence, Emma Chow.
Thank you, NACD, for having me, and I just wanted to give a quick thanks to my 4th grade teacher, Miss Thielen, who got me interested in conservation in the first place, and to my husband and my parents that are here to help celebrate this. Thank you. So I think Hugh Hammond Bennett said it best when he said, "I consider the Soil Conservation Districts movement one of the most important developments in the history of agriculture. NRCS would not be able to do what we do without partners like resource conservation districts. That's what they're called in California. And I wanted to take time to just thank the resource conservation districts that I've had the opportunity to work with up and down the coast of California, working with them and to figure out how to address local concerns and partner together is really what makes the job fun. I'd also like to thank Carlos Suarez, California NRCS State Conservationist, and the California leadership team for always working to make sure that us at the field level have the support that we need to get conservation on the ground. I'm proud to serve the producers of California and proud to continue the voluntary conservation work that Hugh Hammond Bennett championed. Thank you to the National Conservation Planning Partnership for this tremendous award. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations, Emma, and we thank you so much for your commitment to locally led conservation. I'll also mention, you may have recognized the picture earlier today when I was talking about our new Ag Mentor program. Emma was one of those folks that came into DC to help us that week, so she certainly is one that is willing to help with any need that's before us, so thank you again, Emma. Like Hugh Hammond Bennett, NACD and NRCS know that conservation happens on the ground through the help and coordinated partnerships with our nation's growers. This year's Conservation Producer Hugh Hammond Bennett Award for Conservation Excellence goes to David Daigle of Radley, Louisiana. David is a true conservationist, constantly thinking about ecosystem functions and integrated resource management. He not only performs conservation practices on his farm by implementing his resource management system plan, but all tracts of Daigle farms are operated with an integrated resource management approach. His conservation practices, some of which date back to 1996, include prescribed burns, fire breaks, prescribed grazing, forest stand improvements, and nutrient management. David is extremely involved in his state and local community, serving as a board member for the Calcasieu, is that close? Calcasieu Soil and Water Conservation District and president of the Louisiana Association of Conservation Districts. He serves as a board member of the Louisiana Native Plant Initiative and the Coastal Plain Conservatory, and was a previous board member for the Imperial Calcasieu Resource Conservation and Development. In 2016, David co-authored a publication entitled Prescribed Grazing, a management tool for wetlands to promote awareness of the resources in the Gulf Coast region and how to protect them. He serves as a role model for many other producers, hosting educational field days and workshops on his farm and working hard to spread the conservation message. Unfortunately, David was not able to be with us tonight, but accepting the award in his absence is Mr. Jason Nolde, who's Vice President of the Louisiana Association of Conservation Districts. Jason, would you please come forward and accept this award on behalf of David? Give him a hand.
Well, as you're well aware, I'm no David Daigle, but I'd gladly stand in his shadows anytime. He has some sick family members that he is tending to this week. So from the words of a great friend of mine, Mr. David Daigle, he says, "Wow, thank you to each and every one of you for the award. My father was a very practical man, a real Louisiana crazy Cajun. And it's okay to say that in respect because Crazy Cajun is a term of endearment in the great state of Louisiana. My father was also a realist, and I know that he would say to me tonight something like, 'Dave, that Hugh Hammond Bennett Award that you're receiving is just for running a bunch of old range cows in those poor piney woods.' And I would tell him that today we've learned a lot, that while growing and selling cattle and timber is still the base of what we do today, in recent years through partnerships, we've learned a whole lot more about our work in conservation stewardship, that today it's not just about managing production, but also about managing soil health and water quality. It's about managing species diversity and wildlife values. It's about managing ecosystem function to maintain a critically imperiled habitat unique to Louisiana, in his case, the longleaf pine ecosystem. It's about soil and water conservation, about the common good of our community, and he would be proud of this award tonight in part, I think, because his C student got an award that he had to push all the way through college. And our fathers in conservation, Hugh Hammond Bennett and his deputy chief, Dr. Walther, would be proud here tonight because their vision of a viable partnership between the producer, farmers and ranchers, and the government is alive, well, and thriving today. Over 80 years ago, in the wake of the Dust Bowl and Great Depression, our conservation fathers set out with a mission that never again in this great country would there be a widespread poverty where hungry young men came off of a failed farm all across America to CC camps for food and work. Dr. Walter studied the ruins and failed old world civilizations and determined that the cause of failure was the abuse and neglect of soil and water resources. To fix our problem in America, our conservation fathers created the Soil Conservation Service and the Soil and Water Conservation Districts in an effort to form partnerships where producers receive support and assistance from the government, because soil and water conservation was too big a job, too important to the well-being of our country for a producer to take on alone. Tonight, they would be proud that the conservation partnership they created has grown now to include conservation entities and NGOs all across this country. They would be proud because 80 years from now, or for 80 years now, men and women in conservation have worked with their hands and minds to use their talents and creativity to move conservation forward in new levels. There are a lot of people to thank for this award. I can't thank them all. To Kevin Norton for his support and leadership in Louisiana conservation for 12 years. Mr. Brad Spicer, honored by our Louisiana legislature for 55 years of dedicated service for the cause of soil and water conservation, and his very capable assistant, Mr. Joey Bro. To LACD, to all members of my conservation district, the DCs in the parishes where we work, Mr. Corby Moore and Barrett Lyons. To my wife, Mary Ann, and daughter, Clara Ann, who are so supportive in the dedicated work that we do. To Tim Palmer, Mr. Jeremy Peters, and the entire NACD crew, and many, many others. Our work has always been far more than just soil and water conservation. It's about the dignity and common good of our human family. On April 21st, 2015, Pope Francis said in his official Twitter account, did you know that he had an official Twitter account? We all know that President Trump has one. Pope Francis said, we need to care for the earth so that it may continue as God willed to be a source of life for the entire human family. Tonight we stand on the shoulders of strong fathers and conservation giants that came before us. Let's keep their torch lit. Thank you, and God bless our work. And I have to add, and this is from me, the words of our beloved and very own Coach O, go Tigers.